how do you deal with two sources? You have a written source and you have a cartoon, and you need to answer them in probably one longish paragraph. Obviously, you need to look carefully at the details of each source first, but you're still going to follow the same format. You're going to describe something about the sources, either both of them together or each of them separately, and then analyze their value and limitations in the usual way. So let's have a look at these sources. Without going into too much detail, this is from the study of the Arab-Israeli conflict, or the search for peace in the Middle East, and we have two perspectives on the same events at a very similar time. One's from the 13th of September 1993 and the other is from 1994. They're both about the Oslo Accords. Okay, this is the other word for the Oslo Accords, the Israeli-Palestinian Declaration of Principles, also known as the Oslo Accord. The origin of the first source is Prime Minister Rabin of Israel. The origin of the second source is a British cartoonist showing Rabin and Yasser Arafat, the leader of the Palestinians. And a cartoon is intended to be humorous, but we can read a lot into the position of these men and the facilities, the technology that they have at their fingertips, as shown here. All right, just looking at origin and purpose, we have the origin of this being the Israeli Prime Minister, the date being the occasion of the actual signing of the Accords. So it's the day on which he signed an agreement with the Palestinians. The motive is to explain why Israel has decided to sign these principles and what he expects the Palestinians to do in response. And the audience is really interesting. He's in Washington. So there's Americans there, but the world's press is there and is being reported back to Israel, is being reported in Palestinian territories, and is being reported all around the world. We could say a lot about the audience when a senior political figure signs something important. The Guardian is a British newspaper. The audience is British readers. The British Empire had a lot to do with this region in the early part of the 20th century, and in some ways its decisions resulted in some of the situations and the conflict between Arabs and Israelis today. So British people have followed this conflict closely. And we see Rabin in a very modern tank, fully armed, shaking hands, because the agreement is about shaking hands between the two people, but he's shaking hands with Yasser Arafat, who's in a little toy car with no weapons, no visible resources at his disposal. His tiny flag there, the giant Israeli flag with Rabin here. And we can see this is not a meeting of equals, although the language here might suggest that they should live side by side as human beings, as free men. This is an opportunity to contrast two perspectives in two sources.